brave? That's condescending. Let's talk about that. Don't call me brave for living with mental illness. It's condescending, is what Katerina Bryant has to say about dealing with her mental illness. As mental illness is a well-known thing now, there are some people that don't know what it is or how people deal with it. Mental illness is not something someone wishes upon themselves, but also not considered brave to be dealing with it. Bryant explains in her article from The Guardian on how she's dealt with her mental illness and the encounters she's had with other people who do not understand. People talk about mental illness and think it's brave and courageous when they may not know how it is to deal with a mental illness. Bryant uses her past experiences from her most recent book, Hysteria, along with examples from other sources such as other articles on dealing with mental illness, and other sources that prove that her claim with dealing with a mental illness is brave. First, we will be looking at ethos. How does she use ethos, you may ask? Well, in the article she states that she has written a book and many other articles on her mental health and also includes quotes from other authors and articles. Bryant provides a personal story to show how uneducated people have become annoying. Another example is when she quotes Stella Young's work. I've lost count of the number of times I've been approached by strangers wanting to tell me they think I'm brave or inspirational. It's objectifying. This quote shows that other people have the same experience. This way that people describe people dealing with a mental illness makes them feel less human and more like an object. Next, we will be talking about logos. In the article, Bryant states, I am simply narrating how it feels to live in my body. She uses this quote to show her logic towards people who may not understand the workings of a person dealing with a mental illness. The logic people may have is that this experience is so unpleasant that to talk about it is courageous, when in reality, it is normal for her, nothing more than waking up in the morning. The example from earlier in the video about having a new GP is also logos, as it shows the logic people may have when it comes to people dealing with a mental issue. The logic people may have when dealing with a mental illness is that it makes your life harder in every way, and that it's okay if you don't feel good every day, or maybe you feel ashamed every day. As Bryant shows, this is not the case, as she goes about her day just like everyone else. And last, we have pathos. Bryant talks about some other personal experiences that other people may have, such as canceling plans due to feeling unwell, when she has a panic attack on her birthday, or when she had a seizure while at an art gallery. She is appealing to her audience with this, as you may have some of these experiences happen to you. Obviously, not everyone has a seizure or a panic attack, but she is appealing to a wide variety of people. The example of canceling plans due to feeling unwell can be understood by a wide variety of people, as maybe you just feel nervous or anxious and you don't want to go. You just blame it for feeling unwell. Bryant uses a combination of quotes from other authors, sources, and the general logic from her personal experiences on having a mental illness and to show the objectifying manner of being called brave. She uses other sources to prove that being called brave is not only objectifying to her, but to others dealing with the same thing. Her own book, Hysteria, is used to show how it is not her first time writing about her experiences dealing with a mental illness, and show how people making claims about how she lives her life objectifies her and others dealing with a mental illness. Who gets to determine who is brave and who is not? Someone who deals with it every day, or someone only making assumptions? How can people put shame upon someone who does not feel ashamed to be dealing with a mental illness? The logic from the majority of people may be deceiving or incorrect from the real truth of dealing with a mental illness, and Bryant explains her concern for the average person. Making assumptions often objectifies the illness and does not express a difference for each person. Who gets to determine who is brave and who is not? Someone who deals with it every day, or someone only making assumptions? How can people put shame upon someone who does not feel ashamed to be dealing with a mental illness? The logic from the majority of people may be deceiving or incorrect from the real truth of dealing with a mental illness, and Bryant explains her concern for the average person. Making assumptions often objectifies the illness and does not express a difference for each person.